Your name?
Daniel Freilich.
What's your day job?
Until about 5 weeks ago, I was a Navy captain. I am a physician. I specialize in internal medicine and infectious diseases. I'm an associate professor of medicine and surgery, and I've ran some of the Navy's largest medical research programs.
And so why until a few weeks ago?
I separated from active duty in order to run for the United States Senate, the Democratic ticket from the state of Vermont.
And who holds that seat now?
Senator Patrick Leahy.
And he's generally regarded as a pretty good guy. Why are you running against him?
I think he's actually one of the better senators in the United States Senate, but I think that we are where we are despite people such as Senator Leahy and other people within the power of the Democratic Party. They have accepted the current status quo, and I think what they are urging for changes now are incremental at best.
So he hasn't signed on to single payer. Is single payer going to be an issue in your campaign?
Absolutely. It's one of the main two issues in terms of restitution of economic equity in the United States.
And so why are you interested in single payer?
Because it's the right thing to do, both economically and morally. Morally, clearly, because it's the only way to truly cover the entire country, and economically, because it is the most cost-effective. Just one simple factoid is that you save $300 to $400 billion a year in terms of decreased administrative costs. That more than covers everything that's necessary for universal coverage.
So 88 members of the House have signed on to single payer, but it's not happening. Why not?
Political expedience. People are being told by the leadership within the party to follow the leadership in terms of what's being pursued in the Senate and in the House committees. These are watered down, incremental bills at best. And my personal opinion is that people should be voting within the Senate and the House based on what's morally and economically right for the American people. And they all know what the right thing is.
Okay, so Leahy's not in favor of single payer. You are. What about another issue where you differ with him?
Well, one big one is progressive taxation. I doubt, actually, that Senator Leahy would disagree that we need a restoration of progressive taxation, but that doesn't mean that it's an emphasis in terms of political capital and putting your energy as one of the three sole representatives of the state of Vermont into that restoration of economic equity. I absolutely believe that we have lost fairness and reasonableness in the tax system, and I think that's a cancer in American society. You can't have a democracy and a cohesiveness of singular people when you have a lot of haves and a lot of have-nots, and you've lost the middle class.
So when is the primary?
September of 2010.
And are you going to be going full-time between now and then?
Yes, I have separated from active duty for that purpose. I am continuing in active select reserves, and as a consequence, I will drill part of the time, but mainly I will pretty much exclusively be devoting my time to running for the U.S. Senate.
Any ideas if anybody else is going to run?
I haven't heard that, and I'm not aware of any significant challenge to the incumbent in any recent years.
So what do your families and friends think of this?
They are incredibly supportive. They absolutely think that it's a daunting challenge, but they know that I'm doing it for the right reason. And it's one single reason. It was impractical from a career point of view to be separating from active duty in mid-career. I was promoted to captain just a year or two ago, but I felt so strongly that fair play has been lost in America, and it's we need a couple more senators and more than a couple fighting for fair play for average Americans. I mean, it's not just economic inequity, what we talked about taxation and about healthcare. It's the whole gamut. I mean, for example, environmental and energy policy. It's kind of amazing to me that in 2009, you would drive down to Southwest in LA and Phoenix as an example, although it should be the same in Vermont, but start somewhere. And that every building doesn't have solar panels as an example. Now, not because I'm a big tree hugger, but because it's the absolute right thing to do in order to prevent global climate change in terms of national security threats and in terms of quality of life threats. So to me, that's a policy failure. And there's no question in my mind that tax policy can be instituted that would make that, just as one example among many, a affordable and competitive pricing.
So how long has Leahy been in?
Since 1974.
and so it's time for him to go?
I don't want to put it that way. I don't believe that any congressman or senator should be in Washington that long. I think it is likely that our founding fathers would roll in their grave if they knew that that happened. It's not that it necessarily causes a specific cynicism, but I use an analogy as buying a house. When you buy a new home, the first year, every little leak and every little draft you notice and you fix. It's just human nature. And when you're there for a long time, you sort of forget. You don't notice that little draft, you don't notice a little crack in a wall, and you let things go. It becomes your new environment and it becomes okay, when really it's not okay.
Okay, so one more time on single payer. What is Leahy's position on it?
Leahy's position is currently, to the best of my understanding of what he's stated, is that I think he will support whatever is pursued through the Democratic leadership. Now, if a House or Senate bill was proposed that was for a single-payer system, I don't think he would necessarily oppose it, but he certainly is not expending political capital. And I think that right now, in 2009, we have such an opportunity that I would expect our leadership to do everything they can. And if they go down in flames and if to go back to their farm or their law office or their doctor's office, that they would do everything they can right now. We've only had two opportunities for such transformational change in our society. Back in the 30s with the New Deal, and in the 60s with the war on poverty and Medicare. And I think we're there now, and I absolutely expect that from our representatives.
So you would say, I mean, I'm getting a sense from you that you're running against Leahy because he's not taking a leadership role on the issues that both you and him care about.
Absolutely. I think he's willing to accept incremental compromises. I'm no longer willing to accept those.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.